wanted to do a video here comparing all of my favorite pocketable tactical flashlights with high candela. Bit of a mouthful, but basically any high candela, high throwing flashlight that I can fit in my pocket, has a tactical switch on the back. I brought them out here, my favorite ones anyway. So coming up first, I've got two Phoenix lights. I love these lights and I can never decide which one to bring with me. And I'll start off first with the Phoenix PD 35 3.0. And just incredible, that beam, large hotspot, and cutting through all the way to the back, as you can see. Very impressive. Decent amount of spill too. It's of course on the highest mode on turbo, but if we switch it on, go to some of the other modes, you'll be able to see as well. Three, four. There you go. That's the fourth mode. Still pretty useful. Turbo. Great thing about this light is that it holds turbo for 2.5 minutes. I mean, I gotta say, that's really impressive. And even after it ramps down, it doesn't ramp down too heavily. So it does get hot though. Okay, so that's your first one. Now I've got its twin brother, almost twin brother, the Phoenix PD35R turbo as well. You'll notice the beams are very similar. Okay, very similar, and in the first 30 seconds of runtime there isn't much difference. Okay, but this one does ramp down a bit faster and just ensures you have a practical flashlight that doesn't burn you, doesn't feel too hot to hold. So it's very easy to change modes as well. You can find like a little mode switch on the back of the flashlight. Okay. And the high mode is pretty decent, as you can see. Turbo. Produces an incredibly throwy beam for such a small bezel. I'm always trying to find something that can compete with these sort of lights, you know, in terms of high candela, small bezel, still, you know, over 1,500 lumens. Okay. All right, coming up next, I've got the Nitecore MH12 SE. And this is a serious thrower. The beam is, look, it's a little bit similar to the previous two flashlights, but it does throw a bit further because it's got a larger reflector. So there we have it. It's also taken a 21700 cell battery, so not too large as well, considering the size of the bezel and the battery tube. It's almost the same size as the previous two flashlights. A little bit bigger, tiny bit bigger, but hard to tell. A few other modes in here as well. You've got to fiddle around with the head to switch the modes. Can't see that one. Okay, there we are. So even that second last mode, where is it? Here it is. That high mode still manages to hit those trees at the back, tint some of those trees. See that one there? There we are. So decent. One of my favorites as well. Couple of possums in the center there, maybe running across the field. Okay. Alrighty, so now we have the Well-Tool T2. Let's turn this one on. Okay, medium, high, low, medium, high. The high mode is, like I'd say, yeah, again, it's quite similar to the MH12 SE. The MH12 SE does throw a bit further though, because again, it's got a larger head. But for such a small light, the Well-Tool T2 is absolutely incredible. Squeezing that much candela, that much range into a light of this size. 3 modes, very simple. You can get a tactical version of this light that just has turbo and just as high, and the hidden candlelight mode, low mode. Okay. Very impressive. The medium mode is also pretty good, as you can see. Manages to tint those trees out the back. You've got a bit of grass here. Pick up alright in the field. Good for long, sustained output if you just need that medium mode, holding that medium mode and output for a long period of time. Back to high again. Impressive, super impressive. Okay, couple of my favorite budget, so-called budget flashlights. Workhorse FC12 coming up first. And what I love about this light is the amount of value you get. This, I think it retails for about $30 or something like that. And look at the performance you get out of it. It hits those trees off in the back easily. Nice hot spot in the center. Look at the beam is probably a little ringy around some areas, down the edges, around the, especially outside of the hot spot, there are some little ringiness on the ground, but the reflector is it's smaller than all the other lights, but it's a deep reflector, and this light outthrows many of my other flashlights that are more expensive and have a much larger bezel. So it's even smaller than all the other throwers I have put together that I'll be going through tonight. It's just the slimmest one. So it's one of my favorites, and it's one that I recommend people when they're first getting into lights and they don't want to spend too much. You get the SFT40, you get a battery, you get everything included, and it's just excellent value and performance. And you can also change between the modes. You can ramp the light up and down. I've just got it on the ramping mode. Okay, there we go, back to the highest mode again. So not bad, hey? We also got a proper momentary at the back as well. So now I've got the Convoy M2 with the CUL PM1 emitter in white. And this one has some serious throw. I mean, this one outthrows all of my other tactical throwers, smaller tactical throwers. And look, I've cheated a little bit. The M2 does have a larger bezel. I think it's around 30 millimeters or slightly less. Okay, but look at that. It's a combination of the larger reflector and the emitter, CUL PM1 emitter, which has a very small die surface with a lot of light output concentrated being emitted from that small surface. I think it's about 2 millimeters squared. So as a consequence, you get this pencil thin beam. And there's also another emitter that you can get in it, the CSL NM1, which which will throw further, definitely throw further than this. It's 1 millimeter squared, but you're not going to get as much output, light output, but you will get further throw. But look at that, for pure visibility, in Convoy, I'm always just impressed at how Convoy managed to do this. Incredible. Just in performance alone, it puts some of my other more expensive lights to shame. And good extended output as well. There's a few other modes, you can program them in. I've just got it on 3 modes, so low, medium and high. Medium, you can still see it, look at that. Still reaches the back with ease. But yeah, the spill is not the greatest unless you're on high. Okay. Okay, finally, I've got the Olight Warrior 3S, and here's the medium mode. Okay, I'm just going to show you a bunch of modes that it has, but it's medium and turbo. Look at that, isn't that impressive? I believe it has an SFT70 in here. I can't confirm that though. You just can't see into the bezel. It's frosted over under the lens, so reaches those trees at the back with ease, absolute ease. And what I love about this light is that it's got such a huge hotspot as well, so very practical, gives you a large visibility. Yeah, what am I trying to say? Large area that you can see. Whereas, you know, the light before, the M2, produces a really small hotspot, but not much visibility around that hotspot. So this, in many ways, is probably a more practical light overall. Beautiful beam as well. And what we can do is also select some additional modes in the UI. So I'll just show you the high mode. Okay, it's just going from low, medium, high basically, and that's high, which is still very respectable. You get, it tints the trees out the back a little, gets everything closer to the front. But if you need that boost of power, turbo, look at that. So that's it. Hope this video was helpful for you, and I'll see you soon.